Hello, and welcome back to RPG Maker MZ. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a follow-up to our ice sliding puzzle that we did a couple of weeks ago. So previously we had these ice tiles set up where if you stepped on them, I'm not pressing anything, I'm just sliding and I keep sliding. And today what we're going to be doing, so I mentioned last time that we don't want an event on every single square because that prevents us from having other events do anything. So today, we're doing an object that will slide when pushed on ice and stop on it. If you push it, you push yourself backwards. And then off of ice, this is just your typical boulder or crate that you'd have in any Sokoban style pushing puzzle. Yeah, it just works normally until you push it onto the ice. All right. Pretty cool. So this is what we'll be working on, and let's just go to the same place. This is just a copied room with the boulder deleted, and we'll create the boulder together here. So this does use the ice slide control from my previous tutorial. This is the same event. I haven't changed it since then. So if you want to know how to make that, that is something that I'll put a link in the description to that tutorial. You can go check that. That controls the player on the ice. This is completely irrelevant as far as the boulder itself is concerned. But there is one thing that they both have in common, and that is the use of regions. So your ice tiles all need to be labeled as region 1. That's the one I'm using. You'll see in the code where that is, and you can change it to whatever number makes the most sense for your game, but that's very important. And that's for both this player slide event and also for the boulder slide event. All right, so for this boulder, we're going to be using the player's region ID, so checking whether or not the player is standing on ice. Event region ID is the boulder itself on ice. Event X and Y, which is the boulder's current position, and event delta X, event delta Y, which is the boulder's position after it's moved. And we're using that to compare to X and Y to see if the boulder has stopped moving. If X, Y, and delta X, delta Y are the same, that means that we need to get out of the loop. Because otherwise we have an infinite loop where the boulder is continuously trying to push against this, and that's not good. Alright, the event itself is actually not too complicated. We'll go with slippery boulder. Alright. Same as characters, action button. So this is the settings that we would normally use for a crate or a rock or something that you would push around. So on the first page, conditional, if the variable player ID equals 1. So is the player on ice? If it is, then we're going to turn the player around. Set movement route for the player. Turn 180 degrees. And we will wait for that to be finished because that's going to be important for what we're doing next. Okay. If player is facing down. So they've flipped 180 degrees. So this is you are below the rock pushing up. In this case, we would now be facing down. And that's why we want to move the rock up in this situation. So set movement route for this event. Move up. Skip if cannot move. So if we're up against an obstacle or the edge of the room, we don't want to keep trying to do this. Okay. And then we will set self-switch D. A, B, C, and D are each going to refer to one of the 4 directions that we can be facing. All right. Copy. Paste, paste, paste. we are just going to... Why are these not on the same level? Hold on. Copy. There we go. These should all be at the same level. So we're going to repeat this for the other directions. So see here, left, right, and up have different self switches associated with them. Player is facing left. In this case, we want to move right. C. Player is facing right. I'm just thinking I have something backwards here, but I'll fix that in a moment. Then we're going to go move left, B, and we have down, so we want up. Means that this is going to be moving down, and A. Alright, so I have A, B, C, D is in the same order as this. A, B, C, D. So rock is moving down on A. It's moving left on B. Is that what we have? Move left on B. Okay, this looks like it's right. Else. And here. So this is if the player is not standing on ice, then we don't want to flip the player around. And in this case, we want the way the player's facing to match the direction of the event. And this will be A in this situation. Yeah, I should just be able to do it from there. Looks good. Left, right, up. This is down. This is left. This is right. And this is up. Finally, A, B, C, and D. Okay. Good. So that should be this first page done. And this handles situation as to whether the player is on ice or is not on ice. So let's test that. Okay, so it moved forward. Good. That's what I was expecting. It will... It will only continue moving forward if we do pages 2 through 5, and I tried pushing it up there and it didn't work. And that's also to be expected because control switch is on. Actually, I don't think that matters because its control switch being on doesn't matter yet. I'm going to check that again actually because I'm not entirely sure why it didn't. This isn't actually important because it'll work. Okay, I guess I didn't push the button hard enough. It didn't register. Okay, so it's working as intended. All right, page 2. This is going to be the same as player, but this one's going to be an auto run, so it'll finish processing the rock before the player has control and can move again. And there's an important reason for that. And that is that these event x at event y, event delta x, and event delta y variables, if we had multiple rocks moving at the same time, they would potentially conflict with each other, and you'd get weird results. So if you wanted to have multiple rocks moving simultaneously with this system, they would each need to have their own, event 1x, event 1 delta x, event 1 y, event 1 delta y, and then one of the, that set of 4 for every single event. I'm getting around that by just having them auto run, so only one will be running at a time. So up to you if you want to do that or not. Anyway, self switch A is on. This is A is down. Okay. Same as character, auto run. Also, this is just personal preference. I move these up, the speed up, so that it doesn't take as long to process. Okay. That's something you can play around with on your own, see which one you like. So loop. We're going to, in the loop, we're going to get the location info for, it's going to go into event region ID, the region ID of this event. So if event region ID equals 1, so if the rock is currently on ice, then we're going to do something. We are going to make the thing move. Okay, so event X is going to be this event's map X. Event Y, this event's map Y. Set movement route. We're going to move it down. Make sure you don't forget to set this to the event. Skip if cannot move, otherwise, once it hits something that it can't get through, the game will freeze. And you don't want the game to freeze. That would be bad. Alright, so set movement route this event. Skip, wait, move down. I think that's right. Now we're going to copy both of these. And we're going to do the same thing, but using the deltas. Delta in physics, by the way, I don't know if I ever explained this. In physics, delta is just used to show change. So something is moving from position 1 to 2, or from time 1 to time 2. You would use delta to show the change between the two. So that's what we're using this for here. We're using it to measure the change. That's why I have this name. Okay, so from here, we need to check if they're the same. If we're not doing switches. If event X equals event delta X, that means it has not moved along the x-axis. If event Y is equal to event delta Y, it has not moved on the y-axis, so this means it has not moved at all if it gets to here. In this case, we're going to break the loop because we don't want to be moving this rock anymore. All right. Now we need an else here. So all of this before the else is the situation when the rock is on ice. This is how it behaves. It will just move automatically without any further input from the player. But if it's not on the ice, then instead what we want to do is self-switch A off, and that way it will stop trying to move on the ice, because when A is off, it goes back to this page. Okay. And that's it. And then we've got the end of the loop. So here, end of loop. And we're going to put this here as well. So just to make sure that we're never in a situation, this is when we break loop. Well, we still want control switch A to be off after we've broken the loop. So in either case, we are done processing. So the only time we loop is while we're on ice. We will do this, and if X and Y are not the same, we don't break loop, and then we don't do else, and we go back to the top. All right, so this should work. Now, it will only work when moving down. So let's do that. Okay, the player did not spin the way I wanted them to. It's something that we're gonna have to look at, and the game is frozen. Okay, so stuff went wrong. So same as characters, auto run, A off. Why does stuff always go wrong? Why can't it just work the first time? This should be literally the same event. So we got to this part fine, so I suspect the issue is that it didn't control here. Oh, you know what it might be? We might just need a break loop here. Yeah, okay, so I can move again. And this is just a regular rock. I can push it around. Okay. So the one thing that was weird, set movement route for the player. Why did this not work? Just to confirm that I am not crazy, we're going to go back to our event here. Yeah, we spun around. So if player is facing up, this event moved down. I mean, that should have worked, right? Same as action run. Action button. Well, we'll try. Oops, not here. Here. One of these days it'll be nice to have one of these tutorials go without any troubleshooting. Today is not that day. Okay, there's a lag spike there. That's interesting. I don't think I have anything super big open. Yeah, okay. I did notice that this was slower. I don't think this will make a difference, but we'll test it. Yeah, I'm not turning. But the rock is turning, so this must be doing the right thing here. Because the rock is moving in the right direction, which means if player is facing up, we move down. Player is facing up, this event moves down, skip wait. Like, this is identical. Right? Player region ID, player. Oh, did I just not do that line? Well, there's a problem. How did I miss this one? Get location info. Player region ID. Player. Whoops, this should be region ID. Right, so it was never actually checking if the player was flipping around or not. It was just doing something else. Player region ID, region ID. Player region ID. Okay. I swear, I know how to program. Honest. There we go. Wasn't even using the right variable. Yeah, let me get pushed off. Okay. But this will not work in the other directions yet. It'll do this kind of behavior, which if this is what you want, this is fine, actually. So for that kind of behavior, you would just not have a page 2. But if you want it to slide all the way across the ice, we're now going to copy this now that we have everything working. And that's why I wanted to test things first before doing this part, because if something's wrong here, I would now have to change it in all of these. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're just going to copy page 2, but we're going to change all instances of self-switch A to B, C, D, and down to left, right, up. So this is B, this is C, this is D. I'm just going to do one thing at a time. So self-switch B, self-switch C, self-switch D. Excellent. And then this should be the last thing I have to change. Yeah, because this is pretty short. It's just in one page. So move down. B was left. C was right. And D was up. Okay. And dare I hope that this works. I dare. Will my hopes be dashed? Alright, so yeah, Boulder does block movement. You can push off of it to go backwards if you want to, instead of just walking backwards. I mean, you can just step. It's the same thing. And we can push, and it slides. And there, I've just tested it in every direction. It slides up, down, left, and right, and it stops appropriately. All right, so that is a slippery boulder. And this sort of thing will make your ice puzzles a lot more interesting, I think. Something like this. You can have multiples of these because it's an event. It will be blocked by other events. So, I mean, I can just demonstrate this and hope that nothing terrible goes wrong. For example, we can push this one here, and it'll get stuck. And then we can push this one down, push it here, it'll get stuck. We're stuck. We can now slide this way. So yeah, hopefully you can see how with a more interesting set of geography, there we go. With a more interesting set of geography, we can make some pretty interesting puzzles with this. And I hope that somebody does find an interesting use for it. I'm pretty happy with how this event worked out. And yeah, that's going to be all for this time.